What's up everyone, Charlie here. We're going to continue on with the Webull API tutorial. So far, just a brief recap. We've created the Webull class ticker ID function to convert the symbol input to the correct ticker ID to call subsequent API endpoints. Analyst ratings function has been made with a model to go with it. Short interest has been made with a model to go with it. And the capital flow has been made with a model to go with it as well. And remember, the point of these models is so that we can be like, short interest equals WB.shortInterest, and then after we pass in our symbol, we can just do, data equals short interest dot, and then we have all the data here available to us individually if we want. We have the whole data dictionary to choose from, or the as data frame, whatever we want to do. So we're going to build onto this by adding another function. We're going to say define, and we're going to go get another endpoint real quick. So let's do that real quickly. Chrome. And to do this, go to Webull.com, go to Platforms, Web Trading, and then Control-Shift-I will open up your Developer Tools window, and then go to the Stocks tab here, and we can start getting data. Now, we're going to go ahead and do the quote one for real-time quotes here. This one's pretty cool because you can stream this one in real time to get real-time data. So the endpoint you're going to want to look for, just go ahead in the filter box, type in real time, and click on the endpoints that come up. And just like always, take this and copy it, and we're going to paste it into our new function, into our file. And we're going to do def stock quote self ticker as a string, and we're going to do endpoint equals, and then we're going to paste that link in. Just make sure it's between those two quotes. And these ticker IDs here, just go ahead and erase them all. And we're going to put ticker ID. And we have to actually call the ticker ID. So ticker ID equals self.getTickerID, and pass in that same symbol. Let's change this to symbol so we keep it consistent. And there you have it. So now we can start getting the data simply by doing datas equals request.get endpoint.json. And we're going to do for item in datas, print the item, and we'll see what we get back from the terminal. We just got to run this down at the bottom. So quote equals wb.stockQuote, and we're going to pass in Apple. And let's see what we get back here in the terminal. Okay, so we have a big dictionary of data. And just like before, we can make a model for this and return it as needed. So the cool thing about the stock quote is that you can actually input more than one ticker. So to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to change symbol to symbols. And it's going to take in a list of symbols instead of just one symbol. And what we're going to do now is we have to get all of the ticker IDs for each of the symbols, right? So for symbol in symbols, tab this over, and now we're going to get those ticker IDs. And now what we can do is say empty list ticker IDs equals empty list, and then we're going to do ticker IDs dot append ticker ID, which is going to append each ticker ID from all the tickers we call in to this ticker IDs list, and should return the full list of ticker IDs. And the way we join these together to call them in this endpoint is instead of ticker ID, we do ticker IDs, and we say in quotes, just single quotes, comma, dot join ticker IDs. So ticker IDs equals quotes, comma, dot join ticker IDs. This is going to join that list of ticker IDs into a comma separated string, which will then be passed to this endpoint, and we will be able to get the data results for all of those tickers. So instead of passing in just Apple now, what we're going to do is we're going to pass in Apple, and we have to do this in a list. So we're going to do Apple, Google, AMD, and NVIDIA. Let's see what we get back here. Hopefully I did this right. Because before we only got one data dictionary of items back. So let's see if this works for all four. Let's see what happened here. Okay, so it did get all the ticker IDs. It just did not join them together. So I think what we need to do is do string ticker IDs and refresh this and see if we get back the string. Let's go ahead and run that again just to make sure, because I want to make sure I'm going to put a breakpoint here to make sure the ticker IDs are actually being passed in correctly. And they're still in, it looks to me like a numerical order. So let's try it this way. Let's do string dot join ticker IDs. And we'll refresh this to see if it works. Let's see what it looks like in the actual URL string. Oh, I found an integer. Okay, so it's still counting it as integers. So let's do how we did before and just convert the string of ticker IDs here and see if that'll work. We got trace ID, message, and code, which makes me think that it did not work. So what we can do here is we have the symbols coming in as a string. This is appending to ticker IDs. Everything looks right to me. So what we'll do, we'll just keep it at the single one for now. What we could do is we could just keep it all under the list comprehension. So instead of tabbing everything over, we can, instead of appending to the list, ticker ID is self.get ticker ID. And then instead of doing ticker IDs, we can just simply pass in each ticker ID individually. And then what we can do is we can say data dict up here. And as the datas are being requested, we can just data dict dot append the datas. And then what we can do is we can print the data dictionary after this is done running. So let's run this and see if we get back the results we're looking for. Okay, so that did work. It's the same output that I was going for before. So now we have multiple dictionaries of data. So now what we can do is, since we've appended everything to the list and we have our data dictionary containing multiple items, we can create a model for this, or we can go ahead and instantly put it into a data frame, whatever you want to do. So the way we would break this down as at this point is the same we've done it before, is just for items in data dictionary, print the items. And since we know it's more than one dictionary now, we can zero off the data dictionary, hit run and debug, and we're still getting a nested dictionary. So we might have to do another zero here, just so we can get down to those raw attributes. And there you have it. There's all the attributes contained in this endpoint, which is quite extensive. So again, if we wanted to make a model for this, we could easily manipulate the string output. Instead of this, we could say in curly brackets, we can put items, and then we could say self dot items equals, and then data, we have to do this in list comprehension, datas dot get, or let's do I dot get items, put that in quote, and then we do for I in datas, and now we'll run this again. And it will help us out when we make our model in a second. So now what we can do is take all of this and copy it. And just like before, we're going to go to the models folder, make a new model, call it stock quote.py, and we're going to paste this in after importing pandas as PD, and then class stock quote def init self datas, and then we're just going to paste this in just like that and tab it all over. Now we will have to change one attribute because it's the same name as a native Python trigger word, which is yield. So what we can do here in this instance is take the yield and just add an underscore at the end. And there you have it. We have a model built for the stock quote. Let's just make sure this works on an individual basis before we start returning attributes. So top of the file, go ahead and from models dot stock quote import stock quote, and then at the bottom here in our function we can say return stock quote data dictionary. And then to test this out, we can go down here and we're going to do data equals quote dot. Let's do the change ratio for now just to see if we're going to get this back correctly. I may have to do another nested list comprehension. We'll see. Okay, yeah, so list, this I is still a list. So what we're going to do here is we're going to zero this off, refresh this, and see if it gives us an error on the next attribute instead of the first one. Okay, perfect. So now all we got to do is where it says i.get, just hit Control F and then replace i.get with I 0 in brackets dot get. Just like that. And there's 50, is there really 59 attributes in here? Holy cow. There you have it. So now let's go ahead and refresh this and see if we get the output we're looking for. And there you have it. Boom, our list of values. So we can see that for each of those tickers we inputted, we have this change ratio showing for each one. Now, to get the ticker, I believe the ticker's in there. So we're basically done already. All we have to do is make the data dictionary. So again, just to make sure GPT-3 gets it right, we're going to do self.data dict equals, and then in curly brackets, we're going to do, let's see, starting at the top, ticker ID and then exchange ID. So we'll do ticker ID, self.ticker ID, exchange ID, self.exchange ID. And then just like before, we're going to copy this whole thing, go over to GPT-3, and get it to help us out here. Save us some time on constructing this data dictionary. Please finish the data dictionary as I have started. Excuse me. And there you go. Saves us a lot of time and headache. And you can do a lot with this endpoint here. So now we're going to go back to our function here, and all we have to do is simply go to the bottom, replace this data dictionary with the full data dictionary. Just like that. And then last but not least, we create our as data frame. Object equals pd.dataframe self.data dictionary. So now what we can do is we can go back here and we're just going to test this out. We're going to do the data frame as data frame, and let's just print this data to see if we get a nice data frame of Apple, Google, AMD, and NVIDIA data for today. And there you go. Looks like we do have it. Now, did that come with the symbol? Because if it didn't, we're going to want to add the symbol in to the dictionary here to make sure that we know what symbol is what. Okay, and it looks like it's there, so it's under symbol. Okay, so now what we can do is if let's say you wanted to monitor like, SPY versus let's do Tesla, right? So we're going to pass in those two, and I'm going to add an additional argument to this, and it's going to be real-time updates as a Boolean value as false. And then we're going to say here, before we return the stock data, we're going to say if real-time updates equals true, then we're going to do while true, return. Actually, no, for this we'll have to print here. So we're going to do while true, print data dict. Well, let's do this. Let's do stock quote data dict dot symbol. Let's do this. Symbol is stock quote data dict dot symbol. Price is stock quote data dict dot close. And then the volume is stock quote data dictionary dot volume. And what we can do here is we can simply print this out. So print symbol, symbol, price, price, put a $sign there, and then volume as volume. And now if we call this, what we can do is if we add in that new argument, we say real-time updates is true. Now when we run this, we should get real-time updates for SPY and Tesla. All right, I see it, but it's not updating the data. So let's go back and see what could have gone wrong here. So we want the while true to be there when we're calling the endpoint, right? So we need to take this endpoint, copy it, put it right here. Or actually, we can just do this. We can say data equals requests.get endpoint.json. And I'm going to go ahead and tab this over one more. That way, if it's true, we should be able to get updated values here in those outputs. And it's still not changing. We're just getting SPY because we just passed in 1. So let's try this a different way. That's one way to do it, but we can do it another way. So let's go ahead and try it another way. So this is non-real time here. Let's just go ahead and do this. Let's make another function. And we'll call this one real-time quotes. We'll do real-time quotes. And for this one, let's do, everything's really going to be the same, except the only difference here is we're going to do while true. And then instead of returning this, we're going to print stock quote data dict dot price or close. Let's just test this out real quick. And instead of calling the stock quote, we'll do real-time quotes, pass in the same thing, and we will refresh this. Oh, whoops. Need to erase that new argument because we took it out. And we don't need that because that's not going to work. Refresh this one more time. Don't need that. Come on, buddy. Let's move the while true loop up here, outside the for loop. Excuse me. Let's do it here. While true. And we'll print it down here. We'll put the data dictionary just inside the while true loop. And there you go. So now you can see here the values are changing for both Tesla and SPY. So now what we can do is we can say price equals that. Symbol is stock quote data dictionary dot close. And we can do volume is stock quote data dict dot volume. And now we can say print price, price, symbol, symbol, volume, volume. And we'll refresh this so we can get a little bit more context in the terminal. But this is how you would set up your alerts, right? So you could now, easily make an if statement and say if, SPY price is this. Uh-oh, we did not print the symbol correctly. Let's put symbol, not close. And you could be like, if, SPY reaches this price, then I want you to let me know, or, do this or that, whatever you want. And one thing I don't like is the way that it's in lists right now. It should be able to print off line by line. I think the issue might be the way that we're passing this inside of a list like this, which we may need to modify the model as well to account for this because we have the model set up um, as this. Let's see what the problem is here. Real-time quotes takes in symbols as a string. So it may have been right the way before. But yeah, so for SPY, the way we would do it is we would do SPY, and then we do price 0, symbol 0, and then volume 0, and then copy this, paste it again, and then just do Tesla 1, 1, 1, and we'll run this now. And this is a basic example how to do this. We're going to get into some more complex and more streamlined ways to do this later on. But this is the output I was hoping for right here. Is now we have Tesla SPY clearly coming out. Prices are dynamically changing in real time, along with the volume. So very, very helpful if you're looking for real time monitoring of different stocks. So to get this to work, all you got to do is copy the code, change these tickers to whatever list you want. I believe it can take up to 55 tickers at one time. Let's just add in AMD, NVIDIA, GME, and then you'd have to add in each one of those individually down here. But I'll show you how to do this more seamlessly in future videos. So that's it for this one. Y'all have a good one.